Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and for a long time I've been telling you that my youngest son is very demanding. He knows how to play the game, and he demands that I get him McDonald's or something like that every Friday morning, and he holds me accountable. Well, in this case, but he's always asked. He's not afraid to. This guy's a salesman. He's not afraid to ask. Okay, listen to what he says. I was just trying to get him to help me pick out a painting to buy on Master, or part of a painting to buy on Masterworks. Watch this. Pick out one of these paintings because I'm gonna invest in one of them. So I need you to help me look through here. Can you do that?
Okay, but you already have me 2 Lego sets, so I'll only do it if you get me a third one.
Oh, come on. I have to get you a third Lego set just for you to help me pick out a painting?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Not a big Lego set like a...
Oh, it's a big one.
No, I mean like...
No, it's going to be a big
like
Lego
a $20 Lego set.
No.
All right, just pick a painting for crying out loud. All right.
First pay up.
Do you look... all right, tell me... No, first pay up. This kid. He's unstoppable. This is the one he picked, by the way, so that's the one I'm gonna... I don't know anything. I don't know that much about art, so he knows about as much as I know. So if he says that something looks good, I'm like, okay, we'll give it a shot. So and I'm really enjoying doing this, by the way, for diversification purposes for myself. If Masterworks is something you're interested in, they're one of my sponsors. I'll put the link to this in the top of the description of this video. And if you don't know already, what Masterworks allows you to do is traditionally buying art has been only for the rich. And what they've done is they go out and they buy actual paintings, and then they securitize them. They turn them into shares, $20 a share, where your minimum investment's like $500. And it allows a lot of us who have never had access to that market to invest in it. And the returns are oftentimes better than the S&P 500. And so it gives you access to something we haven't had access to before, a lot of us. Okay, TAIG put this out apparently on TikTok. Hashtag ETHgate is a thing. 542,000 views. The Ethereum scandal XRP investors are calling bigger than Enron. Whoa. All right. Then today, there was this Fortune magazine article. Bitcoin's Judas, the co-founder of a rival cryptocurrency, is pushing for a green revolution in mining. It's not going well, okay? Very ominous. Now, in this article, they've got the tweet from Ryan Selkis. I think I told you about. I'm blocked by the guy. He didn't like it when I put under his thread the Joseph Lubin disguised whales video. He doesn't want to talk about that. And so he's talking in this tweet about how Chris Larson should be in jail, and he's a Judas, and he, in a society, if we were in a just society, he'd be in jail. But apparently Ryan Selkis thinks that the Ethereum disguised whales and all that is completely legit. So I said, in the bizarro world of Ryan Selkis and his proof of work maxi friends, Ripple and Chris Larson are the bad guys. And this is what I think the real thing. This is what makes them want to climb walls, is from day one. This is what they are deep down. What really makes them angry is that Ripple was transparent about everything from day one, folks. They, on the other hand, the Ethereum people, it's never been transparent by design, in my opinion. And that's one of the reasons. I can't remember what the book was. I think it was, it's a political book, Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals. I remember watching Glenn Beck talk about this one time. And he said one of the rules for radicals, and this is like the handbook of a lot of these political activists, but one of the rules in the rules for radicals has always stuck in my mind, something I remembered him talking about, and that is you accuse the enemy of what you're doing. In other words, if you're lying, you accuse the enemy of lying and paint the target on them so that people aren't looking at you. That's what's been done with this whole proof of work Ethereum thing. Is you point at Ripple, you say look, they own all of this XRP and therefore they're bad. Meanwhile, the guys that started Ethereum disguised the buyers and to this day have not had an audit. That's what they did, is they pointed at Ripple as the bad guy while they were the ones that had centralized the ownership and have hidden it to this day, folks. Prove me wrong. Let's find out who those disguised whales are. Let's see who the buyers were. Let's prove it's easily provable. Show who those buyers were. Who bought in the Ethereum sale? Who used multiple email addresses to buy? Who were they? It's easy to prove us wrong. Go ahead, make my day, as Clint Eastwood used to say. Goldman Sachs was previously known for its anti-crypto stance. Today, it wants to lead the cryptocurrency race with new investment products. I remember I talked about this for probably 2 years. While these guys, Goldman Sachs and all these Wall Street guys, were trying to scare everybody out of crypto, that's when they were buying. Back in 2018, 2019, that's when they were buying. And I was one of the people on this channel saying, nope, they are not telling you the truth. They're trying to scare you out of this, driving prices down while they buy it. And then somewhere down the road, now 2021, 2022, all of a sudden, oh yeah, they're all about it. Yeah, that's how they play the game. If you've learned nothing in this space, I hope you've learned that. Okay, this is an interesting tweet. Thanks again to everybody who, along the XRPL community London meetup yesterday, these guys are talking about NFTs on the XRP ledger. It's going to be fun to watch. We're seeing a lot of these Ethereum people that are all arrogant and everything. It's going to be fun to watch all these people. Grown men will weep, right? Because at some point here shortly, Ethereum and their unproven Ethereum 2.0 are going to have to be forced to compete with real technology. And at that point, it's going to be fun to watch. Once XRP is finally freed, watch out. Okay, John Deaton, ThorChain is offering a 20% APY on Bitcoin deposits and $100 million assets under management. Gary Gensler is not going to stand for that, so I believe JW is correct. The SEC will protect us from receiving that level of yield. And now remember, JW Verrett, he's the guy who was on the SEC advisory committee. I think that's what it's called. And he left and he took a shot at Gary on his way out. And ever since then, I think he got on with John Deaton and he talked about how he agreed with him. So this guy's one of the good guys. He says, love ThorSwap. Make no mistake, SEC is preparing to come after ThorSwap to try to destroy this amazing tool. I hope we have maximum decentralization, maximum anonymity for our devs and node operators. Be ever vigilant, ThorChain and Rune friends. Okay? Now, since we know JW is a good guy, I decided that I would tweet to him because this is the elephant in the room. Hey, JW, why is the SEC so aggressively going after companies providing crypto yield and completely leaving any Ethereum-related staking alone? Gary Gensler was very clear that paying interest falls under securities laws, and I retweeted his thing, and then I remind everybody of this video.
We hit $25 billion worth of Ethereum now staked in Ethereum 2.
$25 billion of Ethereum, people, there's interest being earned, okay? That is under securities laws, period. That's what Gary Gensler said. Why is ThorChain supposed to be, or Thor whatever, supposed to be worried? Why them? Why not Ethereum? That is the problem. That's the elephant inside of Gary Gensler's room. That's why we're here, because we're a dog with a bone, and we're not letting this go till somebody either gives us a level playing field or answers this question. If the people that have created Ethereum are not being treated the same way that the rest of the industry. They're being handled completely different than the rest of the industry. Why?
Ready for when we get off to the races. When I interviewed you in my...
All right, I'm not going to play the rest of that anyway. Moving along. This guy gets it. I love this guy's comment. Somebody videoed this guy in the streets. Watch what he says.
What about yours?
Ethereum.
Yeah, Ethereum. They're all going to jail. They're all going to jail.
They're all going to jail. I love it. That sounds like an Australian. ProCoinNews.com, who is the official sponsor of the Digital Asset Investor Hunting and Fishing Club, tweeted this out. That's a lot of money. Citi expects the MetaVerse to be $13 trillion market by 2030. 13 trillion dollarinis, folks. We'll be focusing a lot on the MetaVerse here in the next little bit. Library, who is being sued by the SEC, in 4 years of pursuit by the SEC, we've spent millions of dollars, provided millions of pages of documents, and spent 10,000 plus man hours. In all that time, SEC has never answered a question or provided feedback of any kind. We want to follow the law, but no one will tell us what it is. The SEC says hire lawyers. We hire very expensive, accomplished lawyers, literally ex-SEC, and do what they say. The SEC says that's wrong. We say, how can we fix that? They say hire lawyers. And then Jeremy Kaufman, who's the who started Library, he says, SEC interrogator just flipped out at me for not answering questions. Now you know how it feels, mother effer. This guy trips me out. For the record, I was answering. He just didn't like the answers. At the end of the compelled SEC testimony today, I asked the investigators if they thought it was strange to pursue me for years, spend millions of dollars on both sides without ever talking one-to-one a single time. Talking to me would be unethical, they said. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable that our Congress is letting them get away with this. Now, John Deaton had an interesting tweet yesterday. Theory, XRP, a sacrificial lamb. Then former CFTC chairman Gary Gensler said there was not regulatory clarity in the digital asset markets. And for Ripple, there needs to be clarity in the market. See below. Watch this.
Well, two classes of problems. The people who issued the tokens, are they criminals? What happens to them? And then the people who are holding the tokens, were they scammed and how do they get redress?
I think regulators around the globe will sort it through. But as you saw in the first of these last summer, the DAO, the SEC chose to write, I think it would be called an order, but they didn't actually then have a civil money penalty. They didn't charge. They just wrote an order and tried to change behavior. I think there is a reasonable case to be made that if you can come into compliance, if the Securities and Exchange Commission gives some number of months, and I don't know what that is right up a period of time, but some number of months or a year or whatever to come into compliance, then they'll look forward. The challenge is compliance is about disclosure. That's hard to do, but it's doable. Compliance is about the manner of sale. You can't change the manner of sale from 2 years ago, but maybe you can change the manner of sale going forward. Compliance is about beneficial ownership. That's a tricky one. Compliance is about anti-fraud and insider trading rules. So, but I think it's more like, let's look forward, and there's 1,000+ horses running on the field that got out of the barn. We've got to kind of bring them into compliance. And even for Ripple and Ether, or maybe it's, EOS or NEO or something, but for the big market cap ones, there needs to be clarity in the market. And if the clarity in the market is that they're not securities, they might still be commodities. They might still need to comply with all those laws and so forth. But I think it's a period of time. But if you do an issuance now.
All right. Interesting stuff right there. Now, moving along. Dubai-based M-Content partners with PricewaterhouseCoopers to launch the Ripple versus SEC documentary in the MetaVerse exclusive. Now, that'll be interesting because they've got their own little platform, M-Content. And they're going to release their documentary that was being done a few months back in the MetaVerse. And you're going to be able to watch it. That should be interesting. Now, this Mickle XRP caught my attention yesterday, and he made a very good point. Breaking, Cynthia Loomis wants to give more power to Gary Gensler. Retweet this to let her know about the crypto community will not stand for this. The SEC has held back innovation for far too long. Now, this video I had played on this channel, but sometimes you listen to a video, but you just miss it. Well, I just missed it. Listen to what she says right here.
One of the fears that you hear a lot right now is this idea is Bitcoin in particular, but perhaps Bitcoin, all of the coins that have been traded these days, is this the credit default swap of this decade? Meaning the way the housing market and the derivative trading mechanism of taking these loans, putting them all in a pack.
Well, let me comment on that for a second. Here, you want some irony? You know who created credit default swaps? A woman named Blythe Masters. Where was she when she created them? J.P. Morgan. Where did she go after she helped clean up the mess that she created? Where did she go? I think she was dispatched by J.P. Morgan into the crypto field, okay, to probably try to begin the process of creating a permanent fix so that never happened again. So the same woman that created the freaking credit default swaps is the woman who was sent to head up. Now, they would say, oh, that was just her going off on her own. I don't think so. Anyway, there's you some irony, but that's not the part of this I wanted you to hear.
And doing it, which is not what Bitcoin is, but I can see why people want to compare it. If there is suddenly a collapse, that it could actually drag us into recession because of how big this industry is and how volatile it is. Do you accept that fear?
Well, yet another reason why Senator Gillibrand and I want to create this regulatory framework, because by giving the SEC additional regulatory authority and additional disclosure authority, requiring when these assets are bundled in ways that make them look like securities, subject to the Howey test, subject to the SEC's jurisdiction, there will be sufficient information available to assure against the kind of risks that we normally don't deal with until there's a crisis.
Do you think that?
So she believes the SEC should have even more power than what Gary Gensler has now. That's pretty disturbing for me. Now, before I go to this, I want to reiterate something I've said many times on this channel. Everything that we are watching with regard to the SEC versus Ripple and crypto and all this right now, this is going to fall down in one of two ways. Either we have complete corruption, and we've been covering that, you know that, or one of three ways. Either there's complete corruption and everything we've shown you needs to be investigated. Option two is that all the world's a stage, and that all these senators and all these congressmen and all the CFT and the SEC and all these people, they know that there's a bigger plan for Ripple and for XRP, okay? That's option two. Option three is this, some combination of those two, okay? So against that backdrop, I go into this. Now, this was on Politico Live, regulating the digital gold rush, a deep dive conversation with these Senator Gillibrand, I think I'm saying that right, and Loomis are working on a regulatory framework, okay, together. So I went and found this. I think that she lets the cat out of the bag on some things right here. I think some of this is information that's not supposed to be out there. And I think and no question that Cynthia Loomis knows some things that aren't public.
Is there going to be a greater role under this framework for the CFTC in regulating spot markets? And if so, what, if anything, does that mean for the SEC?
Yeah, the answer is definitely yes. When you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum in particular, it's pretty clear to me that those are commodities. And the spot market will end up at CFTC and futures markets, which is why it's so fabulous to work on this with Senator Gillibrand, because she's on the Ag Committee that has jurisdiction over the CFTC. But the previous speaker you heard said there are something like 17,000 cryptos, and certainly not all of those are commodities. So we'll still be using the old Howey test from the 1940s to help define what is a security and what is a commodity. And the SEC will also have a huge role in this space. Additionally, when you look at stable coins, payment stable coins, and a possible CFDC, the central bank digital currency, those are going to be...
All right, I think she just slipped up right there. The CFTC, the central bank digital currency. Almost like she just said that the CFTC is in charge of the central bank digital currency. Let's hear that again.
Stable coins and a possible CFDC, the central bank digital currency. Those are going to be addressed in this bill also to a smaller measure. So for
now, who was at the CFTC? Chris Giancarlo. Who is in charge of who created the digital dollar project? Chris Giancarlo.
Example, if we...
Who works for Wilkie Farr? I think it's Wilkie Farr, which is a law firm that represents Ripple. Chris Giancarlo.
A central bank digital currency. It would likely not be like the digital yuan, which is more a direct to the retail customer type of asset. Ours would function more like the current Fed, where our central bank digital currency would allow for faster and cheaper transfers of money among central banks, both internationally and within the United States, and the Bank for International Settlement and so forth. And then it would be the banks that would be the issuers of stable coins. And they would be pegged to the dollar as opposed to the digital yuan, which is a direct-to-retail product. So these are some of the things that we're kicking around in this bill.
All righty. Okay, and then there was this clip from her. Listen, and I asked her in this. I said, "Hey, Senator Loomis, you say here you're meeting with Gary Gentz with the CFTC and you're getting industry input. Have you met with Ripple?" In 2018, the SEC CFTC were working with Joseph Lubin and Consensus with the Brooklyn Project, but they did not include Ripple. This led to the SEC Ethereum Free Pass. May 2018 clip below. First clip is with her from this conference, and the second clip is Charles Gasparino from Fox Business. Well, if I can get it going, let's see if I can make this work.
Out on a very quiet basis, got some great feedback, integrated that feedback into the next draft. The next draft is out. Then we've been working together between our offices to make sure that we're covering all the CFTC and SEC issues that would tend to fall under our committee jurisdiction, as well as get industry input, meet with Gary Gensler, meet with the CFTC, and try to have something that we can actually break up.
It's created by two, I would say, industry leaders, a guy named Joe Lubin, Andrew Keys. They're part of something known as Ethereum and Consensus. These are big cryptocurrency blockchain companies. They are working on this through this thing known as the Brooklyn Project. They have a lot of sources and friends on Wall Street. This, to me, will be the way that cryptocurrency and blockchain, the technology, gets beyond the sewage rationale. They are going to lead the effort to essentially systematize and rationalize and create a consumer protection organization with blockchain and cryptocurrency and this is the key thing, because they are working, from what I understand, with the SEC, the CFTC on this, a self-regulatory organization, which will differentiate between stuff that can be regulated as securities, like Bitcoin, and other stuff that you have through blockchain, like computer technology.
I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Tell your friends and family that I hope that Cynthia Loomis is not doing a repeat of what was done in 2018. Remember, we could have had regulatory clarity back then, but Joseph Lubin and friends decided they wanted to give themselves regulatory clarity instead of giving the industry regulatory